Hello folks, we're back working on the master bath vanity. I've got all the parts primed, drawer fronts, a drawer, all the other miscellaneous pieces of wood that go in to support the shelves and the drawers. These are all the drawers, doors. So now it's time to sand and begin final painting. Woohoo! Alright folks, so the actual tile laying is done. When I check a level between that gap right there all the way around to that gap, this gap is about 1/8 of an inch lower than that one over there. Which illustrates, and these top tiles are all within 16th plus or minus of each other. So, which gives you a little bit of an idea that that part of the ceiling is just a hair higher than this part or this part here. Anyway, little tiny minor details. Grout will be a wonderful thing up there. And otherwise, the tiling is finally done. I started this project in January and it is July 7th. Then now it's time to grout. So step one is to prepare the walls for grouting. That means cleaning up all of the smudged thin set that got on the faces of the tile. That's not a problem. I got to go and clean up these little edges here just to get any of the thin set off the edges so that they don't show through the grout. The grout is same color as outside, very light. What else? I'll be taking out all the pluses, scraping all. There's a little bit of like, this is like hot glue from the packaging that I got to get off. There's chunks of thin set like this I got to scrape out. So that'll be the task for today. Hopefully I can start grouting today. I'm probably going to run out of the bucket of grout that I have, but anyway, it'll start to look like a real shower here pretty soon. And then I can put in the fixtures and try it out. So I was down at the river until Friday, digging the holes with my son, and we've ordered the glass for this shower here. The reason I'm kind of jumping around is we're nearing the end of this project here, so the glass and the counter are the last steps. I've got the vanity down in the garage, mostly painted. I should finish painting that today. Glass is ordered, so we're having about a 15-inch panel that goes up and across, and then a door that's 6 feet tall, and then a shelf for this niche. So all told, that's $2,000 for the glass and installation. So that's probably the biggest expense of this whole project is the glass. Anyway, back to work. So yesterday started grouting and used up the bucket. Had to go get more. Kudos to Floor and Decor for taking every piece of tile that I didn't use back. Very nice of them. And I had to get another gallon of grout. $110, $15 a piece for the caulk. So the caulk will be used for sealing all the interior joints. So basically sealing and then down everywhere where there is an interior corner. So including the floor. It's the same colored caulk as the grout. It's a silicone, so it won't crack. It's supposed to shrink and contract with the joints. So today I'm going to try and finish the grouting. And then tomorrow I can caulk. And the tile will be done, ready for glass installation. So anyway, a few things that I wanted to point out. I had some flaws here. For example, right here, this joint right here is a lot wider because this tile was a little angled. But, you know, from this perspective, it doesn't really matter. I made a lot of other little tiny mistakes. This is from pulling the blue tape off. I'll just have to come back and touch that up. Let's see. Also, you probably can't tell, maybe you can. A few of these joints are a hair thicker, hair wider than these joints, for example. I also have a tile down by the seat that's a little wonky. I think it's this one here. It's just a little angled. You can tell the gap is wider up here than it is down there. What else? I also had a joint here where this gap is wide and that is thin. You know, but that's the whole benefit of grout, is that it really makes the gaps not really matter. So the reason these gaps are wider is because I was using little tiny black shims of plastic to regain level. Down at around this level here, going around, it was starting to get a little out of level where this was lower. So I'd put in a 1/8 inch little spacer, and then I'd put in 1, 2, or 3 black shims, a little thinner than a 1/16 of an inch, I think they were, and to spread out the evening of the gaps so that I didn't have, 1/8, 1/8, and then 1/4 inch. So I'd have 1/8, 1/8, little less than 3/16, 3/16, 3/16, and then I could get back to quarters. So that's my strategy for trying to get something back to level that wasn't quite level. And that worked out really well because even here you can barely tell that the gaps are separate or different, but with the grout, it'll be invisible. So anyway, the grout is a very forgiving stage of the process. It starts to make it look nice. Also, these edges like here have no special grind on them. They're just hard edges from when I cut them with the tile cutter. And they turned out fine. In fact, the piece of glass is going to be basically along this joint here. So these hard edges here are going to be covered by the glass anyway. So, and anywhere else I had a hard edge, like for example here, it's really hard to tell, I think. Anyway, these hard edges, I did regrind them after I cut them, and they turned out fine. There's this very pleasant edge there, even though the white porcelain glaze is pretty thin, but you can't tell that the underlayment of the tile is actually a dark brown. So here you can see a little bit of dark, but that's not even one I ground, whereas this is one I ground and it turned out great. So anyway, just a couple of things to point out in this final stage of tile. This has been such a huge job. I'm going to be happy to get it done. Cheers. All right, folks, the shower is done. We are waiting for the glass to be put in, and then when I put the vanity in, I'll hook up the handheld and the shower head. Of course, I have to do the back side of this wall. There's going to be a door to access this, and then of course I have to cut a hole in the wall and permanently mount the board that this pipe is attached to. That board can move right now because I want to make sure that when I thread the handheld into there, that it's being pulled against the tile properly, and the gasket that goes behind it is hitting the tile properly. So I made that blocking behind there loose right now until I put the plumbing in. So aside from that, this is ready for glass. I caulked this morning, and it was kind of a bear, and then I had to touch up the ceiling and the walls, mostly due to the blue paint or the blue tape, pulling some of the paint off, and then I put the light in properly. So we are ready. Next time the glass gets put in and I do the fixtures, we can take a shower. And then here's the niche. All right, here. The glass guy is gonna install a shelf right here, the 3/8 inch thick. He's providing the brackets, and otherwise, on to I gotta fix this light, clean and replace this grill, and install the vanity here. One big project that I haven't started yet is going to be the cabinet that goes along this wall. Storage to make up for the cabinet behind me that was removed. And but the bathroom is soon getting to a usable state. Cheers. All right, folks, the cabinet is in. The glass should be coming either tomorrow or next week. They had a mix-up on ordering the little tiny shelf for the niche. But cabinet is in. It's all leveled. You can notice that far back foot is retracted as high as it'll go into the leg, yet 80 inches away. We need an inch of height. That is how far off the floor is from being level in 80 inches. Pretty bad. But, you know, walking in the bathroom, you can't really tell. It's just if you look at the legs, they're all different lengths. Otherwise, cabinet turned out well. Got all the plumbing. I had to clean up some cuttings from drilling, but I still have to cut the pipe at the right length and secure these in, but the valves are in and they are waterproof. This is going to be the drain for the sink here, so that the sink comes down about in this area, and this needs to this is obviously in the way if it went straight down, so I'll be cutting out some part of this here to account for the drain going down. But the shelves here, this is basically for my wife to put her hair dryer and hair stuff on, and she can sit here. While she's sitting here, she can open this door and get it stuff in there. She's got this drawer here, and of course these drawers here. So the rest of the shower is done. I got all the fixtures in. My wife approves of the flow. These are some parts that'll go in the glass when it comes. But we are nearing the end. Some things I have to tidy up. I need to, we've ordered a rod and hook for this door, so I need to take this door down, patch these holes, put in a new rod, and paint the door. And then I have to patch this wall here. I got to make a door for this, kind of like I did down there for those valves. And then I'm now going to secure that block. This block here is right now what holds the handheld, but I'm going to patch this up, and then of course I have to patch where the old opening was for getting underneath the tub when it was a big tub. Anyway, that's where we're at. Almost done. See you.